I am here today with Emma and we are going to talk about the relationship between theatre and body confidence, because I have just done a fringe show where I did a scene topless. I know, shocking, right? To give some context, I mean, you saw the show. Would you say it was pretty tasteful?
Yeah, no, it was done well.
It wasn't sexual. We were playing centaurs, and so we were kind of like Amazon warrior people. So we were too busy for clothes.
It wasn't like sexy topless.
No, not at all. Doing that scene brought the whole concept of performing in shows and that relationship to how I feel about my own body, like, into the spotlight. And I thought I'd talk about it with Emma today. She is an aspiring actor. So, I was wondering, has body confidence ever affected what theatre you do or how you do your theatre? So maybe a costume or like whether you've auditioned for a show or
it's
whatever.
It's not made me not audition. Am I going to talk about my period? Fuck it. Women have periods.
Women have periods. Okay, go, do it.
I did a show once where we were wearing all white, which in itself wasn't the best, because white is not the most flattering. But also, the show was when I was on my period.
Always is, right? It always is.
Exactly. So I was stressed out about that, and it definitely wasn't helping me perform. I personally feel like costumes have a lot to do with how well the actor can get into character.
True. So you think that the relationship between like what you're wearing in the show itself also has a lot to do with the body confidence?
Yeah, because like some things, like I did a show with the same theatre group where we wore all black, and that was completely fine because I'm comfortable in black. So that definitely affects how confident I am to perform, basically.
Yeah. Hello, Mr. Postman. I don't think body confidence has ever stopped me doing a show. It's made me kind of go, like, I auditioned for Rocky Horror Picture Show, which obviously involves quite a lot of exposed skin, but I love the Rocky Horror Picture Show with all of my heart. It's like my favourite musical, so I wouldn't have dreamt of letting it stop me. And in this show, I didn't actually know when I auditioned that I was going to be doing a scene topless. The director came to me and said, we were thinking the aesthetic of this scene would suit you two being topless, and me and the other girl were just like, yes, let's do it. I don't think body confidence has ever stopped me. It's sometimes made me feel a bit uncomfortable in a costume, but I always just see it as like grin and bear it. More importantly for me, I don't know if you get this, I find it as motivational for my body confidence. If there is a costume that is very tight or very revealing or something that I might not feel comfortable in, for example, I've worn there was a costume where I just had to wear a bra, basically, a bra and a long skirt. So a lot of my midriff was on show, and I was like, oh, am I happy with that? And I just thought, well, I'm going to be happy with it. Time to do the abs challenge. But if there is a problem with body confidence, I tend to actually use it as motivation to like get in shape.
To be honest, I've not had too much where it's been like I've never been asked to do anything topless or anything like that. I've never really seen it as motivation or to get fit or motivation to like quit the show. Kind of just being like, fuck it, I'm topless.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I basically see every single show that I do as a chance to get fit. And I don't know if that's a healthy way to see shows, especially since I do a lot of dance shows, and it does involve like physical exertion and getting fit in its essence. I kind of use it as...
I do more like theatre.
Then I was going to ask about vice versa. Has the theatre ever affected your body confidence? I suppose I've already answered that, because I've said about how like it motivates me to get fit, and therefore after I've done a show I tend to feel better because I am fitter.
Theatre does make me feel better. You have all these people and they're not judging you on what you look like as such. And that's my...
Oh, really?
Is that completely different to how you feel?
Well, I don't know, you're going on stage in front of people.
Well, yeah, but they're not judging you, they're judging the character.
A genuine review of Inferno that we got was, well, it was actually quite nice. Obviously Inferno is about sinners in hell, and we were told that we were all too attractive to be sinners in hell. They are too beautiful. Okay, technically they should just be judging the character, but they are going to be thinking about how you look. I think about how people look when they're on the stage.
I think about how people look, but I don't think about the actors. There's sort of a safety blanket there because they're thinking about the characters. As opposed to, oh, Emma's not looking her best today.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Whereas if I'm going on stage and like musically or singing or whatever, people are like, should she be wearing that outfit? And I feel a lot more insecure then.
So basically it's when you're being yourself versus when you're being a character.
Yeah.
Because obviously we both watch a lot of theatre and we both are involved in theatre. Do you think watching theatre has ever affected your body confidence, like a particular show? Being in the drama world, perhaps?
The drama world is very intense.
It's very intense.
And
So is the dance world.
yeah. Oh god, that's probably even worse.
Sometimes you get dance teachers being like,
You're
could
too
just
fat
like
to be a dancer.
yeah, and even if
Yeah.
it's not directed at you, you start being like, shit, is it going to be a me next lesson?
You know, when I tell, like, when you're in a taxi and the guy's like, oh, so what do you study? And I'm like acting, I'm always a bit worried that they're going to be like, she's not going to make it as an actor. She's not pretty enough. She's not
really?
good looking enough. Obviously, you see all these freaking gorgeous people on, like, in movies and at, like, the Globe and things. And it's just like, am I pretty enough? It's so much looks based.
I did this like how to audition course at a drama school,
cool.
and they literally said at the end of the day, if you aren't pretty enough, you're not going to get in. Now you as a group of people, you're lucky, you're all just about not good enough. And I was like,
Just about good enough.
well, they were generalising to a whole group of people. So
Yeah.
there were people who were like gorgeous, and then there were people who weren't so gorgeous. But yeah, they literally said at the end of the day, there's going to be a point where if you're not good looking enough, you're not going to get into a drama school. And obviously, not getting into a drama school isn't the be all and end all of whether or not you're going to become an actor.
Because it is a very looks based industry. Like, you won't get a part if you don't look the part. To be honest, whether that affects you depends on what parts you're going for. Because I would love to play like the young ingenue who gets picked up by a man, but no heteronormative terms. Whilst I would love to play some parts, I might not look right for them. I would love to be able to do like the comedic parts, but I've been told I look like the young English Rose.
I'm a small, very small girl. I'm thin.
It's
No,
true.
I'm petite. I'm small. I'm just small. So like, there's a limit to like what I can do. Though I have been told that being small is an advantage as a woman because it means you're always smaller than the male lead. Because of heteronormativity, that's a really good thing, apparently.
Fuck gender norms.
The reason I actually asked that question was because I went to see a show called Two Man Show. It's going on tour, and if you can see it, like, check it out. It's incredible. In that play, for at least 3/4 of it,
this one.
there are two women who are topless, and then maybe a third of it, they're completely stark naked. And I mean, like, fully naked, and they're dancing, and you see everything. They were incredibly strong. Like, they were dancers, they were physical theatre, so they like, you could see every muscle, and they were so strong, and they were so beautiful, but it made me actually feel better about my own body confidence. Though they were stunning and though they were strong, they weren't like typical. You know, they weren't photoshopped. They didn't have beautifully smooth skin, and they had muscles, not, you know, what you normally see on women, like kind of really long, slim limbs. Instead, they had muscles, and like they had fairly small boobs too. And I was just like, yeah, you know what? They're human and they're beautiful because they've got these amazing, strong bodies. No, they don't look like how we're expected to look, but they look beautiful. So yeah, that was a case where watching theatre has actually directly affected my body confidence. And after seeing that show, I genuinely feel a lot better about myself.
See, I would say seeing a show like that, I would probably, I mean, I didn't see the show, but I would probably just spend the whole thing being like, oh my god, I could never do that.
See, it was very interesting for me because I had been doing the show where I was topless, so I was kind of like comparing it. I was like, oh, they're topless, and I know how good that can feel. Then they got completely naked. I was like, oh, they stepped it up. I thought, could I do that? I don't know if I could, but because I've now experienced being topless on stage in front of loads of people multiple times, I've realised that once you're doing it, you know what you were saying about being protected by the character? I didn't have to worry about my boobs and whether my boobs look nice or whether my midriff looked nice. I was Chiron, and I was attacking Dante and Virgil because they were on my land, and I was angry and I was a warrior. I was like protected behind that. Once you were on the, well, even before you were on the stage, you're just thinking about what you're doing. You just forget that you're topless. I'm sure it was the same for the women in the show that, you know, yeah, they're naked, but it was for a purpose and it was for a message.
No, I don't know if I'd be able to get past, like, get to that point myself.
What I'm saying though is I think you would genuinely find it easier than you'd expect.
Okay.
Because I wasn't sure I could do it. I was like, yeah, totally, free the nipple, let's do it, Molly, let's do it. And then I was like, wait, shit, now I have to get my boobs out in front of the whole cast and later an audience, holy shit. But what actually happened was I broke the first barrier really easily because I realised I was going into the wrong scene, and they were like, no, Izzy, it's centaurs. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, it just like whipped my top off really fast because I was angry. So it just kind of got it over that barrier. And then, yeah, once my top was off, once everyone had seen my boobs, it was like, what is the problem? But do you think it's brave for a woman to do a topless scene?
I don't know if brave's the word I'd use, because it depends so much on the individual. For some people it would literally mean nothing, and then I think for me it would be like a big barrier. I'm not saying that would make me brave and other people not brave. I just don't know if that's the particular word I would use.
Because I had so many people coming up to me and saying I was so brave. The main comment, I don't think I got any other comments on what I did in the play. If people spoke to me about the play, they would be like, it was so brave of you to do that. Like, good on you, whipping your boobs out.
Like that.
Yeah, and I was just a bit
like that.
no, I was a bit like, well, what did you think of my characterization of Chiron? Actually, I did get comments on one of the other characters I did, but I'd say 90% of the comments I got, if I got any comments, were like, oh, you were so brave.
Which is really irritating.
It didn't feel brave. It genuinely didn't. It just felt like I was doing my job.
Which is always the problem with
What I was meant to
putting
do.
like nudity in a show. Even in a case like yours where it was very much you were animals, like you weren't being humans. It wasn't sexy, it wasn't a big plot point, like it was
just happened to be there.
you were topless. It draws all the attention to that because of humans' fascination with nudity. You hear people be like, oh, if you're an actor, like never do anything nude this early in your career, like
I've heard
wait
that
till you're
before,
famous.
yeah. Kind of say that it's revealing it too early and it means you've got nothing left to hide.
And it's freaking stupid.
It is stupid. I mean, the thing that really made me and Mercedes, the other girl who was topless, feel not totally okay about it was we were sat on the backs of two boys and they asked the boys to be topless too, so that it was like one
Everyone
big
was
creature.
topless.
And literally asking the boys to be topless was just like, can you take your top off? And they were like, okay. And then it was like this big thing for the girls.
It's a big
just
deal,
boobs.
yeah.
And once they were out, it was
literally just nipples.
and everyone has nipples.
Literally.
And there are more nipples in the world than humans, so we really should be a bit more normal about them. Free the nipple, basically, is my conclusion.
Free the nipple.
Feminism. Okay, cool. Thank you, Emma, for joining me in this little discussion.
You're welcome.
I thought it'd be an interesting one after the experience, don't know what else to call it, that is Fringe, and my first ever topless show. If you want to check out Emma's channel, she does singy stuff, she does vloggy stuff.
I make cool stuff. Come watch my stuff. If you're here from my channel, subscribe to Izzy, because she's great. You'll probably see the video we did on our channel.
At some point.
My channel.
What do you think? I would love to hear some more opinions. Do you think that toplessness in theatre should be accepted? Do you think it's also, we haven't talked about it, but we don't really have the time. Do you think there's a difference between toplessness in film and toplessness in theatre?
Yes.
I think there is a little bit of a difference.
I'll be commenting about this.
And also body confidence in theatre, and as an actor or as an audience member, has it ever affected you? Just let me know your thoughts. I'd be really interested to hear. Thank you for watching. Bye.
Bye. Thumbnail.